Hello, I'd like to welcome you guys to World History 1 at Patriot High School, years 2014-2015. You guys will have the privilege of having a slew of teachers in the classroom this year. I'm Mr. Nolan. You also have Mr. Grimsland, Miss Rollins, and Miss Rittenhouse, depending upon which class periods you're in. Easy ways to contact me are to follow me on Twitter at jnolanhistphs or to email me at nolanjc@pwcs.edu. All right, a couple things. Classroom behavior. I'm going to expect that students come in quietly, have their materials out. They'll be able to review the schedule for the day in the front of the classroom on the board or on the front of their packets, which will have their full agendas for entire units. Also, tardies. I am located in the Modular 1 building, the 1700s on the right, the grouping of 10. I need you guys to make your best effort to get to class promptly. I know 6 minutes does not sometimes seem like it's enough time. I'll be a little bit lenient with tardies, but if you are excessively late, I will be marking you tardy, and your parents will be notified. Please make every effort to get to class as quickly as you can. Work procedures. During class, you'll be expected to work quietly and independently when doing independent work. I want you guys to talk in a controlled voice with your group only when we're doing group work. Please, when I or another teacher is talking, raise your hand before talking. Please do not get up and wander around the classroom without asking first. If for some reason you happen to finish ahead of time or you find that you have nothing to do in class, that is an opportunity for you to work ahead, finish incomplete assignments, or work on work for other classes. If you're a reader, bring a book. Food and drink, guys. There is no food allowed in this classroom, no cans or glass bottles. Water is okay if it's in a clear, sealable plastic container. Please keep my room clean. I'm not going to institute a gum rule. Just know that it gets disgusting when gum finds its way onto the bottom of desks. There are trash receptacles located in the classroom. Feel free to use them. Bathroom breaks. I'm not going to count how many you guys have. I want you to be reasonable as to how often you go. You're almost adults. If you need to go to the bathroom, you need to go to the bathroom. I will warn you that we are not actually going to stop in the middle of the lesson and wait until you return. Make sure you get there and get back quickly. You must have your agenda notebook to go, and I will remind you, the bathroom is approximately 40 feet away from my classroom. It should not take you 45 minutes to get to and from. Respect, guys. While you're here, I need you to be respectful of yourself, your classmates, your teachers, and the materials and supplies in this classroom. They are not yours. Please treat them as though they are somebody else's. A couple of no-nonsense things, guys. These are things that are not allowed. Ladies, no minute makeovers. I'm sure your makeup and your hair was fine when you left the school in the morning. Do not worry about it. Guys, no Nintendo DSs. Please, no tech decks. Inappropriate clothing that is outside the realm of Patriot High School's dress code will get you sent to the office and a phone call home to your parents. And then inappropriate language. You guys are old enough at this point in time to know what is allowed and what is not allowed. Please keep it clean. Devices. This is a big thing here, guys. We will use devices in class for lessons on occasion. Those are the only times that I will allow devices to be out during class. You will know well ahead of time when you're going to be allowed to use a device, whether it's a cell phone or a tablet or a Chromebook in class. All right? If you cannot keep your phone put away, cannot avoid the temptation, I have a secure place in my classroom where you can put your phone and it will be locked from you during the classroom. It will not be able to be accessed by anybody else. It'll be safe. You'll get it back at the end of class. If I see a phone or device at any time without permission, I will take it and it will go to security. And your parents will have to come in and get it. So please, please, please keep the devices away. I'm having zero tolerance with this year, guys. Behavior. I will admit that I like to have a loose classroom. I like to have a little bit of fun. This is not going to be stuffy, but the biggest thing is we have to remain on task. If we start getting off track or if you're being disruptive, that's got to stop. If I'm or one of my teachers' hands go up, you need to stop talking and pay attention immediately. If you are being disruptive and off task, the following are the behavioral steps I will take. You will get a verbal warning first. There will be a step outside to discuss. If it continues, we'll have a little chat in the hallway. If I get to the point where there's a chat in the hallway, parental notification is going to occur. And then lastly, we have a stop referral. Stop, for those of you who do not know, is essentially our timeout room where we send you when you can no longer be a part of class for the remainder of the day. A pattern of stop referrals will lead to administrative referral. I also reserve the right to skip steps based on the severity. If you pick something up and throw it across the classroom and hit somebody in the face, I'm probably not just giving you a verbal warning. Supplies. Each student is going to need to have a 3-ring binder with a couple of sections for history. You're going to need to have a unit packet section and a graded assessment section. If you choose to have 6 different binders for 6 different classes, that is entirely up to you. If you prefer just to have 2 tabs in a big binder, again, I am not here to organize you. I'm not a middle school teacher. It is your job to be organized now. You figure out what works best for you. I will tell you that you need to have a place to keep track of your packets and all of your assessments. You will need a writing utensil every day. Pen, pencil, I do not care. Just make sure you come prepared to write. Colored pencils are helpful to have on map days. Usually the first day of every unit will involve some kind of map. I know printing in color is expensive and challenging, so we print in black and white here. It'll usually be easier if you bring your own colored pencils on that day. I will also say that having access to SchoolFusion and YouTube will be extremely helpful, whether it's via computer, device, or going down to the library. Obviously, if you're watching this video, you have access to YouTube. I will be posting videos on every single lesson that we do, so that way you can either review lessons over again or catch up on work that you've missed from being absent. So having computer access or the ability to get to YouTube is extremely helpful. End of class. Just a heads up, I will dismiss you, not the bell. Everyone should be quiet and seated. We should not be crowding around the door, sneaking out into the hallway. If by chance the lesson finishes early and there's 5 or 10 minutes, guys, that's 5 or 10 minutes you could be using to get a homework assignment done, or reading done, or real quickly glancing at notes for a quiz you might have in your next class. Please use your time in the building wisely. Grading this year is going to follow the following breakdown. Summative 1 assessments will count 60%. Those will be primarily unit tests and quarter exams. So big tests figure on 3 to 4 per quarter. So they are very large portions. You need to be ready to do well on those. Summative 2 assessments are what you would have referred to as quizzes in the past. They will count 20%. There will be 1 to 2 per unit, so figure anywhere between 4 and 8 per quarter. Formative 1 assessments are, formative means part of the learning process, so that they're going to be like daily checks, quick checks right after we've done a lesson. So if we do a lesson in class on Monday, you'll probably walk in and there will be a formative assessment on that material first thing Wednesday morning. They count 15% of the grade. We end up having anywhere between 10 and 15 of those a quarter. And then formative 2 assessments are homework. Note that homework is only going to count 5% of your grade this year. You're going to have to work and you're going to have to do well on assessments. So make sure you're studying for them and preparing ahead of time. While homework does not count a large chunk of your grade, homework does prepare you for the assessments of your knowledge. Summative assessments, as I said, they're also known as tests or quizzes. When we have our unit tests, they're going to consist of the following sections. 60% of the test will be multiple choice. So that might be 30 questions, counting 2 points a pop. We will have paragraph identifications, where I will hand you probably 4 terms or ideas or names of people, and you're going to need to give me a paragraph. And by paragraph, I actually mean writing of sentences, 4 to 5 of them in the English language, ideally, that's readable, like an English teacher wouldn't laugh at. Telling me about that person, showing me that you understand why that term is significant to world history. And then lastly, there will be an essay on every unit test that will count 20% of the grade on that test. Yes, that means 40% of your grade is going to be based on writing. Now, early in the year, I know that's going to be a challenge for you guys. So early on in the year, it's going to be very, very structured. By the end of the year, I fully expect you to be able to perform full paragraph identifications and write a 5-paragraph essay with a good thesis statement. A rubric for writing grades will be posted to Fusion and will be present in class. You will know what's expected of you on these writing assignments before you do them. We will actually take a couple of days before we start the history material to go over what is expected in writing and to help you practice that so that you're ready for it. Flipped classroom. Every once in a while, guys, we will flip the classroom, and what this means is that notes are done at home and extension activities are done in class. For these classes, students will be assigned to watch a video posted to YouTube that will have their notes on it. Again, the YouTube access is important, so a video like this where you'll have notes to fill out. And then what will happen is when you come to class, instead of me standing in front of class and putting you all to sleep with boring notes, we'll have a seminar discussion, or we'll have a writing workshop, or maybe we'll work with primary documents and interpret what they mean. The primary documents being artifacts or something that are related to the topic that we are covering. All right, it is imperative when we do these classes that each student watches the video and completes their notes. It means that the information that is required for you to know, we are not going over in class. I'm trying to take it and extend it and make the history class more alive and more enjoyable for you. So when we do these, you have to do your part as well. Homework. You are going to have some form of homework most nights. Homework assignments for the entire unit will be on the unit calendars on the front of unit packets. So if you want to work ahead, you can. If you fall behind, it's very easy to catch up. Homework is meant to further enforce and extend upon material that's covered in class. Usually homework will consist of textbook reading, anywhere between 2 to 5 pages a night. It's not strenuous reading like in an AP class, but we are going to try and get you to start reading here. The other thing that homework will usually be is we'll ask you to outline essays based on the material. So if we cover a certain standard in class that day, I may give you an essay question within which to outline. The purpose is to help you synergize your knowledge, draw it all together of what you learned in class that day, so that you have it synthesized and you're ready to operate on the next material the next day. Extra help. My office hours will be Thursdays from 2 to 3 p.m. I'm off in 4th and 5th periods, so flex 4 and 5 you may flex in. You must sign up on a clipboard that I will have posted in the classroom for help ahead of time. Again, I need to know that you're coming. I have many responsibilities. I have meetings that get thrown on me at the last second. I need to know if someone is planning to come so that I can schedule meetings accordingly. So please, please, please make sure you're signing up if you plan to stay after or get extra help. Retakes, guys. Retakes are available on any standards on summative 1 assessments that a student wishes to retake. Summative 1 assessments, as we said, are unit tests. When I say any standards, I will break the tests up by actual SOL standards. So if we're taking a unit test in November on Greece, there will be 6 standards on there, 5A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I will break the test up on each of those standards. The idea being that instead of having to retake the entire test, if you did well on 4 of those, but you did poorly on C and G, I only want you to retake 5C and 5G. It's to help make the depth of the retake a little bit easier for you guys to manage. Now, a couple of things about the retakes is there will be a deadline for those retakes. You will not have forever to do them. Probably about 2 to 3 weeks you'll know ahead of time. The minute we finish the test, I will post the deadline for retakes. It'll be on Fusion as well. And there's a couple of steps you have to do to earn a retake. You must correctly complete an error analysis form. These will be found on Fusion. You'll have to print it out yourself. It will not only involve correcting the questions that you got wrong, it will also involve finding the sources where you would find the correct answer. It will also require you to reflect on why you got it wrong and why the answer you're putting in now is the correct answer. And then also, all assignments for the unit must be completed. If we had 12 assignments in a unit and you only did 2 of them, that may have something to do with why you did poorly on the test. And I know it's really hard to hear sarcasm over a video, but I'm saying it's entirely likely that that's the case. So I expect that all assignments will be completed if you want a retake. Now, when you do your retakes, I will keep the best grade. So if you're a student who gets a 75 on a section and you're not happy with that 75 and you want to try and make it better but are afraid of doing worse, don't worry about it. I'll keep the best grade. I want you to try and do these retakes. I want you to feel that you can learn the material and do better as the year goes on. I will say one other thing here. I don't want you guys to complete corrections and retake an assessment in the same period or day. So I'm not going to be okay with it being the retake deadline and you flex into my class and do the corrections with me and then sit down and do the retake right away. You need to plan ahead well enough to make sure that you have done the corrections well ahead of time so that you can do the retake on that day. And then ultimately, guys, I do reserve the right to refuse a retake. It is a privilege, not a right. If you're misbehaving in class and being a general pain and have proven to me that you're not someone who's worthy of that retake, I have the right to say no. Makeup work. Check Fusion or consult your calendars for missed work. Notes will be posted in video format and PDF format after class. If you're absent, you are expected to do your work at home, go through the notes, and complete assignments. Believe it or not, that day when you were sick sitting at home, we were still doing work. You need to make it up. Please make sure you schedule makeup assessments as quickly as you can when you get back. You have 2 calendar days to get your work and schedule makeups. You will still be required to take any daily checks the day that you return, and quizzes or tests beginning the following class. If an assessment's not made up with 1 week, I am going to put a 0 in the gradebook as a placeholder until you make the assessment up. Late assignments. School late policy is all assignments must be completed by the end of the unit. So at the end of the unit, you have to have everything done. I'll collect the packet while you guys are taking the test, and you guys will have a unit packet, and every unit there will be a series of assignments that have to get signed off. You have until the completion of the unit to complete all those assignments. That's going to give you a little bit of freedom and flexibility to do better or do worse or pace things out based on your actual schedule. On the day of the test, you'll hand me your packet, and we will check off how much of it is done, and that will be your homework grade for the unit. So if there were 12 assignments, you completed 9, you got a 75. 12 assignments, you did all 12, you get 100 for your homework. All right. The school late policy on the bottom is 1 to 3 calendar days late. Best score is a 75. 4 to 6, best score is a 60. And a referral for homework detention, 7 or more, the best you can get to a 50%. On Twitter, there are a couple different ways you can get information about class. Every evening between 5 and 10, I will post assignment and assessment reminders to one of my 2 Twitter accounts. I'm going to keep history material to @JNolanHistory PHS. I also have my sports account for those of you who are athletically inclined or want to know stuff about Red Nation. That's Nolan Patriot HS. I will keep history stuff to this account. It's not always the last thing I tweet in the evening, so make sure you check the timeline and see reminders. I will not follow you back, so you don't have to worry about that. It's just there for your information. I also do Remind 101. It's a free text messaging service that allows me to send out text message reminders that will arrive in your phone system. I will send these texts between 3 and 8. I strongly advise that you sign up for this. I will have sign-up information posted on each individual class's Fusion page here shortly. And if there are any questions, feel free to contact me. Look forward to having a great year.